Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well. So, I just wanted to point out a few things that show how complex and amazing this reality is, or the universe, or life. They're fairly interchangeable words. But yeah, so a couple things to think about that strongly suggest that reality is far more complex and far more interesting than is generally thought about. So physical objects, for example, a table, a rock, a person, a house, a mountain, whatever, any physical object that you come across is mostly empty space. It's almost entirely consisting of empty space. The atoms, the molecules, are made of mostly empty space, and the atoms and molecules add up to physical objects. So when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of physical objects, it's mostly empty space. It's kind of messed up when you think about. Um, Also, human communication and interaction. Most of the information that a human being perceives from another human being when they're having a spoken conversation to one another, most of it, over 90%. A lot of studies narrow it down to about 93% of all communication shared in a conversation scenario with somebody else in person is shared non-verbally. Non-verbally. So the actual words being spoken, translate to about 7% of the information that is shared from one person to another. Think about it. I mean, you can read someone's eyes and gain knowledge. You can gain information. You learn things about the other person and about whatever without them having to say it. There's the sound of their voice, the tone, the inflections. There's all these little subtle aspects to speech. I mean, I could name a bunch of adjectives, but I'm sure you get the point. The volume of the speech, the body language, the posture, the hand position, the leg position, um, the way the person's moving as they're speaking, where they're looking, and all these things add up. Their facial expressions, and of course their eyes. All these things add up to sharing information without actually speaking the words. The words is the little tiny part of the information's exchanged. But on the surface, if you think about it, it seems like the majority of the information is shared by the words. But the words is less than 10%. I mean, think about that. Less than 10%. So that's just something that isn't. It's not. It doesn't seem like common sense, but when you look into it, indeed, it's the truth. And of course, there's the intuition, ESP type stuff. Every human being has the ability to be intuitive, and when you break it down, it's really being intuitive or using intuition is gaining knowledge or information without using your five physical senses. So you didn't touch it, taste it, smell it, hear it, or let's see, what's that other sense? Hearing, sight, touch, smell, and taste. Yeah. So if it's not one of the five physical senses, but yet somehow you figure something out using intuition, the phone rings and you answer it and you freaking knew who it was going to be, and not because you were expecting their call, but because however you figured it out, the person's name or her face popped in your head. You just had a feeling. You just knew. I knew you were going to call. The phone rings and you know who it is. Intuition. You walk into a room and you get a bad feeling. You can pick up on these bad vibes, and maybe there was a really bad fight or something recently in that area. The hair on the back of your neck stands up. Yeah, that's a great one. So, and people have experienced that, the goosebumps. There's different names for it. It's a physical symptom you just get based on an intuitive feeling. And that's something that humans are naturally able to do. It is part of what makes us who we are as conscious living beings. So, and if you think about it, back in the days of, we'll just keep it very generalized. Back in the caveman days, we'll just call it that. Humans needed to use that intuition to figure out if there was a freaking beast ready to eat them nearby, and they would get those sensations. And as society has changed and evolved, a lot of these abilities have been very, very, very repressed, and humans have that ability, just not nearly as much as they once did. But there is still intuition, and where does that information come from? There's no easy way to answer it. No one really, I don't think anyone really truly knows exactly, but it's pretty obvious that there's a lot bigger of a reality out there, a much more grandiose universe structure than the physical universe we're aware of, that we can perceive with our five senses. There's been many people who have described how let's say vision, let's say the ability to see. There's the visible spectrum of wavelengths, light. There's red through violet and all the colors in between, and humans can perceive those colors, and they're able to see in that range. And what dictates if you can see those things is how fast of a vibration that light wave has. The light wave has a slower vibration. It's more in the red spectrum, and as it moves faster, it gets more to the blue and purple violet spectrum, and it moves fast enough and it becomes invisible. Then you have X-rays and gamma rays and microwaves. And then on the other side, where if it gets slower than red, it becomes like infrared, and it becomes like a radio waves, and they're huge, and they can be like 2 or 3 feet tall, like huge, like giant waves. Think of your microwave oven. If you ever see, assuming you have one or are familiar with microwave ovens, there's the little circles. If you look at the door, there's the metal, like a metal screen inside the plastic or glass door, and there's little circles. Those circles allow you to see into the microwave when something's cooking. And of course, microwaves are actually pretty bad. I wouldn't recommend cooking from a microwave. But if you notice those circles, so you can see into the microwave, but the microwaves can't fit out those circles because they're too big. The waves themselves are too big to fit through those circles. So microwaves. The point is that human beings can only see objects based on that little tiny spectrum, red to purple light. And anything slower or faster when it comes to the vibration of the light wave, or of the waves, of the light waves, if it's slower or faster than that red to purple range, that little tiny range, it's invisible. Visually invisible, but it's still there. So if you apply that to the universe is we're only seeing, when you look up at the stars, and I don't want to get into like what the stars might be or anything like that. There's a lot of ways to look at things, but everything you can see in the universe, everything, you're only seeing that small little part, that red through purple light spectrum part of the whole thing. It's vast. There's so much. If we were able to see beyond that red to purple spectrum, the universe would be freaking insane looking. It would just be like, I can imagine like the psychedelic like trip reporting stuff. I've heard people who have done that sort of stuff, and they see like objects like practically come alive, and they report to be able to hear colors and see flavors and see walls like breathing and stuff. Crazy stuff, right? Yeah, I know some of it's probably hallucinations, but come on now. There's some things, some more natural things like peyote and stuff that are allowing people to see a little bit bigger of the piece of the puzzle that is the reality we live in, the universe. So that's a little bit of kind of scattered ramblings, but I figured it would be I think it's important because you have some people, they're like, they hear about the Mandela Effect, and some people are just not open-minded to even the possibility that there's parallel realities. But what I was just talking about on this video. I mean, shit. The universe is freaking vast. There's so much out there. It's foolish to just say something is not realistic because it doesn't fit into your box of reality. And I'm not saying anyone's right or anyone's wrong. I'm saying that it's wise to be open-minded because the universe is freaking really, really, really complex and so much more than what you can see. So, all right. So that's all I got for now, guys.